Good evening, and welcome. This is a calm and quiet place to rest, wherever you are, and whatever kind of day you have had. You can set it down now. There is nothing left to do tonight, but lie here, and breathe, and let the day go. Maybe you noticed something as you lay down. Your hands were not quite open. All through the day, without ever deciding to. You have been holding things. A worry you could not fix. A word someone said that you keep replaying. A long list of all that is still undone. Your hands may look soft and empty on the blanket, but somewhere inside, the holding has gone on. A hand can stay half closed long after the thing it held is gone. Tonight, you can let that holding loosen. Not because those things do not matter. They do. But the night is not the time to carry them. So tonight, I want to gently remind you of something simple, something we all know, and somehow keep forgetting. Everything passes. The good day and the hard day. The worry, and the calm that comes after it. Even the person you were this morning has already changed into the quieter person lying here now. All of it is moving. All of it is on its way somewhere else. And because everything passes, you do not have to hold it so tightly. You can let it move through you, the way cool night air moves through an open window. It touches everything in the room, and it keeps nothing. Before we begin, you are warmly welcome to leave a small note in the comments. You might share the time where you are right now, or the place you are listening from tonight, or just one quiet word for whatever you are ready to put down. It is a gentle way to feel a little less alone in the dark. If this place brings you some peace, a soft tap of the like helps it reach another tired heart who needs rest too. And if you would like a calm place to return to on other nights, you are welcome to subscribe and come back here whenever sleep feels far away. But none of that is needed now. There is nothing you have to do here at all. So let your attention come back to your body. Feel how heavy you are on the bed. You do not have to hold yourself up tonight. The bed is doing that for you. Let your shoulders come down from up near your ears. Let the small muscles in your face go soft. Let your jaw loosen, just a little, and then a little more. And let your breath move in slowly and out slowly, all on its own. You do not have to push it or guide it. It has been breathing for you your whole life. You can trust it to keep going while you rest. Now, as you breathe out, let your hands open a little more. Not because anything is asked of you, only to feel what opening is like. Notice your palms. Notice the space between your fingers. To hold something, a hand has to work. It has to stay tight. It has to refuse the rest. It is being offered. But to open, a hand only has to stop. That is all. Opening is not hard. Opening is simply resting. This is the small secret we will come back to, again and again, through the quiet hours tonight. We think that letting go is hard. We think we need great strength to pull our fingers loose, one by one. But very often, the holding was the hard part all along. The grip was the work. And to let go is simply to grow tired of squeezing, to set the thing down, and to feel the warmth flow back into a hand that had forgotten it was clenched. You have been holding on for a long time. Most of us have. We grip our plans, sure that if we hold them tightly enough, they cannot slip away. We grip our worries, as if watching them closely could keep them from coming true. We grip the past, turning some old moment over and over, hoping this time to hold it in a way that finally feels right. And all the while, life keeps moving around our closed hands. The night arrives the way it always does, gentle and patient, not minding whether we were ready. It asks only one thing of us: to set our burdens down beside the bed and rest. Think, for a moment, of how a small child falls asleep. They do not plan it. They do not try. They simply grow heavy and warm and slow until sleep quietly takes them. They are not holding anything. Their hands are open. And somewhere along the way, as we grew up, we forgot how to do that. We learned to carry the day into the night. We learned to lie down with our hands still full. So tonight is a kind of remembering, a slow return to the open hand you were born with, before life taught you to hold on so hard. There is nothing wrong with you for holding on. It is simply what tired, caring people do. You hold on because you care, because things matter to you, because some part of you believes that gripping keeps them safe. But tonight, you get to discover something gentler, that you can care about something and still set it down for the night, that loosening your hand is not the same as losing what you love. The day will still be there in the morning. For now, you can rest. So tonight, there is nothing to learn. There is no lesson you must get right before you are allowed to sleep. If your mind drifts far from these words, that is welcome. If you forget everything I say, that is welcome too. These words are not here to be remembered. They are here to keep you soft company while your hands slowly come open in the dark. A knot does not loosen because you fight it. It loosens when you finally stop pulling. So breathe and let the room grow dim and soft around you. Let the light of the day fade out of your mind, the way a small flame fades when it is finally allowed to rest. And far away, at the quiet beginning of these old stories, there is a path leading up a low mountain. There is a doorway, and there is an old teacher who once watched a young student hold a small stone all night long. By morning, that teacher had taught him something true, without ever saying a single word. Let us walk toward that doorway now, slowly, with nowhere we need to be, and all the time in the world to arrive. The path up that low mountain was worn smooth by many feet. On the evening our story begins, a young student climbed it. He carried a small bag on his back, and a great deal more inside his mind. He had come a long way to study with a teacher known for being calm, and he arrived full of questions, full of worries. He had not slept well in weeks. Even now, climbing the last of the path, his mind was busy, rehearsing what he would say. The old teacher met him at the doorway. He was neither warm nor cold. He simply listened, and the young man poured out everything that troubled him, a choice he could not make, a fear that would not leave him, a feeling, hard to put into words, that his life was slipping out of his control. He spoke for a long time. The teacher did not interrupt. When the young man finally went quiet, tired from his own worrying, the old teacher bent down. He picked up a small gray stone from beside the doorway, and he placed it gently in the young man's open hand. "Hold this," he said. "Hold it through the night. Do not set it down. We will talk again in the morning." The student was confused, but he had come a long way to learn. So he closed his hand around the stone, and he held it. At first, it was nothing, a small weight, cool and ordinary, easy to forget. He sat through the early evening, holding it without trouble. He was sure there must be some deep meaning in the task, and he turned the riddle over in his mind, the way he turned over all his troubles. But as the hours passed, something changed. The stone, which had weighed almost nothing, began to feel heavy. His fingers ached from staying in one shape. A dull burning crept into his palm. He moved the stone to his other hand, but that hand soon tired too. By the middle of the night, the small stone felt like the heaviest thing he had ever carried. He could think of nothing else. And here is what the night was teaching him, long before the morning came. The stone had not changed. It was exactly as heavy as when the teacher first placed it in his hand. Not one part of it had grown. All the new weight, all the aching, all the burning, none of it came from the stone. It came from the holding. His own grip, hour after hour, had turned a small pebble into a burden almost too heavy to bear. Maybe you can feel, lying here in the dark, how much of this you already know. The worry you carried into tonight is often like that stone. It is real. It has its weight. But so much of its heaviness comes from the holding, from gripping it for hours, from refusing to set it down, even for a moment. The worry itself asks very little of you. It is the holding of the worry that wears you out. And the holding, unlike the worry, is something you are allowed to stop. Think about that for a moment. The young man believed he had to hold the stone. The teacher had told him to, after all, and so he held it long past the point where it hurt, because he thought that was the rule. But there was no rule that said he could not shift, or rest, or open his hand. He invented the rule himself. He suffered all night under a law that did not exist. We do the same thing. We tell ourselves we have to keep worrying, that if we stop, something bad will happen, that holding on is the responsible thing to do. But that is a rule we invented somewhere along the way, and then forgot we invented. Worrying through the night will not pay your bills, or heal the people you love, or fix the thing that went wrong today. It only tires the hand, and the hand is allowed to rest. When morning came, the teacher found the young man pale and aching. The stone was still clutched in his tired hand. The old man said only this, "You have held that stone since last night. Tell me, in all those hours, did your holding change the stone at all? Did it fix the stone? Did it keep the stone safe?" The student looked down at the small gray thing that had cost him a whole night of peace. Slowly, he shook his head. "Then," the teacher said gently, "perhaps you may open your hand now." And the young man did. The stone rolled from his palm and landed softly on the floor. Warmth flowed back into his fingers, and he understood. He could have set it down at any moment of that long night. He had simply not known that he was allowed. You are allowed. That is the whole of it. Tonight, the thing you have been holding will not be solved by your holding it. It will not be kept safe by your worry. It will stay exactly what it is, whether your hand is closed or open. And your hand, all the while, only grows tired. So, you might let it open now, the way his did when morning came. There is no need to throw the stone away. You need not pretend it was never there. You only let it roll gently from your hand and come to rest somewhere outside of you, on the floor of the night. You can pick it up tomorrow, if you really must. But for now, it can simply lie there, cool and quiet, and asking nothing. Feel your own hand soften as you breathe. Feel the small burning of the day begin to ease. Notice that the worry has not vanished, and yet something has already changed. Not the stone, never the stone, only your grip on it, loosening finger by finger in the dark. Everything you set down beside you tonight will still be there in the morning, if you need it, but you may find, when the light returns, that some of it you do not pick up again at all. Some of it, after a night on the floor instead of in your hand, will have grown light enough to leave behind. And the small gray stone, resting in the corner of the room, catches a little of the moonlight and seems to be resting too. There is a candle burning in the small room where these stories live, low and steady. You may not have noticed it until now. It sits in a dish near the window, throwing soft light across the floor, where the small stone came to rest. Let your eyes settle on that flame for a moment. Watch how it leans and rights itself, leans and rights itself, never quite still, never quite troubled. And notice something we often forget about a candle. It is disappearing as it burns. Every moment it gives light, it is also giving itself away. The wax that stood tall at the start of the evening is lower now, softened, run down in slow pale lines along the side. By morning, if it keeps burning, there will be nothing of it left. We might find that sad, if we were in the mood to worry. We might want to cup our hands around the flame and slow it down. To keep the candle whole, to hold back its light so that nothing is lost. But a candle held back from burning gives no light to anyone. It just sits in the dark, perfect and useless, a tall column of wax, warming no one. The candle is not harmed by burning. Burning is the whole point of it. It does not cling to its own height. It does not mourn each bit of wax that melts into light. It simply gives and goes on giving. And in the giving, it becomes exactly what a candle is for. A small light, steady brightness in a dark room, gone by morning, having done the one good thing it was made to do. Rest with that for a while, because so much of what tires us is the wish to keep what is meant to be spent. We want the good day to stay and not turn into evening. We want the people we love to stay exactly as they are and never change. We want the warm feeling to last. We want the happy moment to freeze in place so we can keep it forever. And in all that wanting, we miss the very thing we are trying to hold. Because the warmth was never in the keeping. It was always in the giving, in the passing, in the way each moment burns down softly into the next and lights the way a little as it goes. Everything passes, and this is the kinder face of that old truth. The day passes the way the candle passes, not stolen from you, given, spent into your hours, and then resting. The day did not fail you by ending. It did what a day is for. It burned down slowly through the morning, and the noon, and the long afternoon. It gave you all its light, and now it is low, and soft, and nearly gone. That is not a loss. That is a day that was fully a day. It can help to remember that nothing good was ever meant to be kept. The sunset is not a failed afternoon. The last note of a song is not the song breaking. They are simply things that are beautiful because they move and end and make room for what comes next. Your day was like that too. It was never supposed to stay. It was supposed to be lived and given and let go. You need not hold it back. You need not keep it from ending. You can let it burn down to its quiet end and feel grateful, the way you might feel grateful for a candle that warmed a room and asked for nothing. And you, too, notice this softly, without alarm. You have been spending yourself today as well. Your patience, your attention, your care, given out in small amounts to everything and everyone that needed you. And maybe some part of you feels the way a candle feels near the end of a long night, lower than it was, softened, run down. But this is not a sign that something went wrong. This is the sign of a life being lived, of warmth being given, of a person who showed up to the day and let the day take a little of their light. You are allowed to be tired at the end of a day. That is not failure. That is what caring costs. And you paid it gladly, even when it was hard. And If your light flickered today, if you were not as patient or as kind or as steady as you wished, you can let that go too. A candle in a draft does not scold itself for wavering. It simply steadies again when the air goes still and keeps giving what it can. You do not have to burn perfectly. You only have to be warm in the way you can, on the days you can, and to rest on the nights when the giving is done. Tonight, the giving is done. The air around you has gone still. There is nothing left to light. No one left to warm. No reason to lean and strain toward tomorrow. So, you do not have to hold your light up any longer tonight. You need not keep burning for anyone. The room is dim. The hour is late. The small flame near the window leans and rights itself, asking nothing of you. Let it become the only warmth in the soft dark, and let everything else, the day, the worry, the long list of all you gave, sink down below it into shadow. Feel your breath move out, and with it, let a little more of the day's brightness leave you, not stolen, only given, only spent, in the good and ordinary way that light is meant to be spent. Watch the candle burn lower still. There is no fear in it. A flame does not cling to its next moment. It does not reach forward, anxious to keep going. It simply is what it is, here and warm, and leaning gently in the dark, until the moment it is not. And when it finally goes out, somewhere in the deep of the night, it will not go out in struggle. It will simply soften and lower and let the last thread of itself slip into the dark, the way you are softening now and lowering now and letting go, breath by breath, of the long, bright effort of being awake. The wax cools. The light pulls back into a single ember, and the dark that stays is not empty or cold. It is just the room, resting. The way a room rests after a candle has given all it had and is finally, gently, allowed to stop. In the dark that stays after the candle has burned low, there is room to come back to the body. It has been waiting all this while for your attention to return. The mind has been busy with stones and flames and old mountain doorways, and that is good. The mind likes to be given gentle things to hold instead of sharp ones. But the body is where rest truly lives. The body is where the day is still being held, in places you may not have noticed. And those places can begin, slowly, to let go now. So let your attention move downward, without effort, the way water finds its own way down a slope. Start at the top of your head. Let it soften there, as if a warm hand had been laid lightly across your brow. Let that softening move down across your face. Loosen the small muscles around your eyes, which spent all day looking and watching for what might come next. Ease the space between your eyebrows, where so much thinking gathers. Let your jaw come unhooked from its quiet clench. Even your tongue can rest now, soft in your mouth, with nothing to say. Let the softening move down through your throat, where words you did or did not say still sit, and down into your shoulders, which have carried the whole day. You can set them down now. There is nothing left to brace against. Let them drop away from your ears and settle back, heavy and warm, into the bed. Feel your arms grow loose, your elbows soft, your hands easy, and let your attention rest there in your hands again. Those hands that began the night half closed, without knowing it. Those hands that have been slowly opening, finger by finger, ever since. This is where the day was hiding. Not only in the mind, where you could see it, but in the small, braced muscles of a body that has been ready all day for something to go wrong. And here is the great kindness of the night. The body does not need to understand anything in order to let go. Your mind can still be turning over its questions, and that is fine. The body can release without waiting for the mind to finish. The shoulders can drop before the problem is solved. The hands can open before the choice is made. The breath can slow before you have any idea what tomorrow holds. You need not fix your life in order to rest your body. The body was never the thing that was broken. It has only been waiting all this long day for permission to stop holding on. So, let the breath move lower now, down past the chest, which has been rising fast with the small worries of the day, down into the belly, which knows a slower, deeper kind of breathing. Let each breath fill you from the bottom, unhurried, and let each breath leave the way. The tide leaves the shore, not pulled away by force, just drawing back in its own time, because that is what it does. You do not breathe out. You allow the breath to leave. There is a difference, and your body knows it, even if you have forgotten. To allow is so much easier than to do. Stay with the breath for a few rounds. In, slow and soft. Out, slower still. You need not count them or make them perfect. You only have to notice them and let them be easy. The breath is the one thing in your body that never once stopped to worry. It did not pause today to ask if it was doing enough. It simply moved in and out, keeping you alive while you went about your day. Let it keep doing that now. Let it be the quiet, steady thing you rest on, while everything else grows soft. Everything that happened today has already passed. Notice the quiet truth of that. The hard conversation is already over. It lives now only as a memory, a thing made of thought, with no more power to touch you than a candle has after it goes out. The mistake you keep returning to is already behind you, already finished. As far away as last year, even if it was only this afternoon. The whole long day, with all its weight, is already gone. It passed while you were living it, moment by moment, the way it always does. And you are here now, on the other side of it, lying in the dark, having lived through every single hour of it. You are still here. The day did its worst, and its best, and it passed, and you remain. Let that settle into your body, like warmth settling into cold hands. You were so sure, at some point today, that you would not be able to bear what was coming. And then it came, and you bore it, one moment at a time, the only way anything is ever born. And then it passed. Notice how much of your strength today went not into living, but into bracing, into holding yourself stiff against a tomorrow that, when it came, was almost always softer than you feared. The mind builds heavy futures. The real moments, when they arrive, are nearly always lighter than the dread that came before them. This is what the night keeps trying to teach the part of us that will not stop bracing. That the thing we brace against has, almost always, either already happened or has not happened yet. This moment, this breath, this weight of the blanket, this small ember of warmth across the room, asks nothing of you at all. It is only the past we keep gripping, and the future we keep reaching for, that fill the body with tension. And both of them are made of thought, and both of them, like everything, are already passing, even now. So, let yourself sink a little deeper into the bed. Let the mattress take more of your weight. Imagine that with each breath out, you set down one more small thing you carried into this room. You do not name it. You do not study it. You only open your hand and let it roll quietly away into the dark. There is no rush. There is nowhere you have to be. The night is long and wide and patient, and it will hold you, whether you stay awake to feel it or drift off completely. The way a slow river holds a leaf on its surface and carries it gently downstream, while the leaf sleeps, knowing nothing of the journey, trusting the water to do what water has always done. That same river, far upstream from where the leaf now drifts, runs shallow over an old stone crossing. And it is here that another story waits for us. In no hurry, the way the best stories wait. Long ago, 2 travelers came down to that crossing at the end of a day, much like the one behind you. Rain had swollen the water. What was usually an easy step from stone to stone had become a cold and difficult passage. The current pulled at their ankles. The far bank looked farther than it was. The 2 had walked together for many miles. They were tired. They wanted only to reach the village on the other side and rest. As they got ready to cross, they found an old woman standing at the water's edge. She could not make the passage alone. She was afraid of the current. The stones were slick, and she had been waiting a long time for someone to help her across. One of the travelers did not think much about it. He simply lifted her, carried her carefully through the cold, rushing water, set her down gently on the far bank, and walked on. It cost him a few muddy steps and a little of his strength, and then it was over, and he thought no more about it. But the other traveler was troubled. He had not wanted to stop. He had not wanted the delay, or the cold, or the bother of a stranger's trouble at the end of a tired day. And as they walked on toward the village, the trouble grew in him, the way these things do. He said nothing at first, but inside, he turned the moment over and over. Why had his companions stopped? Now they were colder, slower, more tired than they needed to be. He brooded on it through the next mile, and the next. He built a small, hard case in his mind, and with every step, he felt more sure that something unfair had been done to him. At last, when they were almost at the village, he could hold it in no longer. He spoke his whole complaint aloud. The delay, the cold, the trouble, the unfairness of it, and his companion, who had walked all those miles in easy silence, looked at him with gentle surprise. "I set that woman down at the river bank hours ago," he said. "Why are you still carrying her?" Let that question rest in the dark with you for a moment. The way it rested between the two travelers on that old road. One of them had done the heavier thing. He had lifted a real weight, waded into real cold water, given real strength to a stranger, and yet he walked on light, because the moment had passed, and he had let it pass. The other had carried nothing across the river at all, and yet he arrived at the village worn out, heavy, sore in spirit, because he had picked the moment up after it was over, and would not set it down. He carried it for miles, in the only place a finished moment can be carried. In the mind. How much of what tires us tonight is exactly this, not the thing itself, which is long over, but our carrying of it down the road. The words someone spoke this morning are gone. The air that held them has moved on. The person who said them is somewhere else now, maybe not even thinking of it. And yet, we have carried those words through the whole day, turning them over, building our small, hard case, feeling more sure with every mile that some weight has been laid on us. The river crossing was real, and it lasted only a moment. The carrying is what we have made it, and the carrying is what we are allowed to set down. It is a strange thing about the mind. It can replay a single moment hundreds of times. Each time, it feels almost as real as when it happened, but it is not happening. It is a memory, playing again in an empty room. The person who hurt you is not in this room. The hard moment is not in this room. Only you are here, and the quiet, and the dark, and you are safe. There is no shame in having stopped to help, and no shame either in being the one who brooded. Both travelers were only tired men at the end of a long day, which is all any of us is, most nights. The story does not ask you to be the one who carries the stranger across with no effort at all. It only points, very softly, to the difference between the weight we lift in a moment and the weight we choose to keep carrying long after. The first kind passes through us and is gone. The second kind we hold, and it holds us in return, and it walks every remaining mile pressed against our backs. So, if there is something you have been carrying since this morning, or last week, or some river crossing years behind you now, some moment that ended long ago, but still seems to ride on your shoulders into this very bed, you might ask yourself the traveler's gentle question, not as a blame, never that, but as a kind of permission. Did this not end some time ago? And if it ended, may I set it down now, here, at the edge of sleep, the way I would set down any burden. Once the crossing is behind me, you need not forgive anyone tonight to do this. You do not have to decide that what happened was fair, or fine, or finished. Setting a thing down is much simpler than that. It is simply the loosening of the arms that have been holding it. The moment is already behind you on the road. You are only being invited to stop carrying its memory as if it were still happening, as if your grip on it could change what has already passed downstream and out of reach. Feel your shoulders, where the troubled traveler felt his, sore from a weight that was never really there, only made heavy by the long miles of holding. Let them lower. Let the road behind you be the road behind you. All its crossings finished. All its strangers helped or not helped. All its moments already given to the past, which keeps everything we hand it and asks for nothing back. The village is near. The evening is over. And the traveler who arrives lightest is not the one who carried the least across the water. It is the one who remembered at the riverbank to set the moment down and walk on into the soft and waiting dark. A little farther along that road, where the land opens out, there stands one great tree. It has stood there longer than anyone could count. Let your mind rest against it now, the way a tired traveler might lean his back on its trunk at the end of a day. It is autumn around this tree. The air has the particular stillness of a year that has begun, quietly, to turn, and the tree is letting its leaves fall. Watch it for a while, in the slow way you watch anything when there is nowhere else to be. One leaf, gold at the edges, loosens from a high branch. It drifts down through the cool air. It turns over once or twice, and it comes to rest among the others on the ground. Then another. Then, in a small gust, a dozen at once. A soft, bright falling that makes no sound. The old tree does not flinch as each leaf leaves it. It does not reach after them. It does not call them back. It does not grieve the green it wore only a few months ago. It simply lets them go, one after another, the way the season asks. And here is the thing most worth noticing tonight. The tree is not dying as it drops its leaves. It is doing exactly what wise, living things do. It is letting go of what it can no longer use, so it can rest through the cold months, so that when the light returns, it will have the strength to begin again. We are not always so wise. When something in our life begins, naturally, to end, a chapter closing, a friendship cooling, a way things used to be that will not be that way again, we do not always let the leaves fall. We reach after them. We try to hold summer into the frost of autumn. We stand in the turning year with our arms full of what is already finished, and we wonder why we are so tired. There is an old ache in this, and it is worth saying softly, because so many of us lie awake holding the very leaves that have already gone gold. The past is what we reach back for, most of all, in the dark, a time when we were younger, when things were simpler, when someone we love was still close, when we had not yet made the choice we cannot unmake. We turn toward it the way the tree never does, longing to climb back into a summer that has already given all it had to give. The longing is not wrong. It is only heavy. It is the arms full of fallen leaves, carried into a season that has no need of them. And here is the gentle part. You need not throw the past away to set it down. The tree does not hate its leaves when it drops them. It simply opens its hold and lets them rest on the ground, where they slowly become the soil that feeds next year's growth. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is lost. What you release tonight does not vanish. It settles into you, quietly, and becomes part of who you are, so you can let it fall without fear. The good of it stays. Only the weight of holding it goes. It is a strange thing, how the past can feel more solid than the bed beneath you, when really, it is the lightest thing there is. It is made only of memory now, of thought and image. We cannot step back into it. We cannot move a single leaf of it. And yet we hold it, as if our holding could change it, as if it could smooth what was said, as if it could keep close what has gone. But the tree never makes this mistake. It knows, in its quiet wooden way, that what has fallen cannot be lifted back onto the branch, and it knows that to spend the winter grieving the leaves would be to miss the deep, good rest that winter has come to give. The tree teaches a gentler way, and it teaches it without a single word, the way the oldest things do. It shows that letting the past fall is not the same as saying it did not matter. The leaves mattered. They caught the summer light. They fed the tree through the warm months. They were real and beautiful and needed. Letting them fall takes none of that away. The summer still happened. The green was still green. Letting go of the leaf does not erase the season it belonged to. It only frees the branch to carry what comes next. And the tree trusts, in whatever way a tree can trust, that spring is not its job tonight. It does not have to make the new leaves. It does not have to worry them into being. It only has to release and rest and let the slow turning of the seasons carry it forward. While it stands bare and quiet beneath the cold stars, you can be a little like that tree now, here, in the turning of your long day into night. Whatever season of your life has ended, or is ending, you can let its leaves come down. There is no need to gather them up. You do not have to hold the summer in place. The past will keep everything that was real about it. Nothing true is ever lost by being let go. It is only lost by being clutched until it crumbles. And the spring that is coming, the next chapter, the next morning, the next version of who you are becoming, is not yours to force into being tonight. It will come the way spring always comes, on its own slow schedule, with no help from your holding on. So, let a leaf fall, and then another. With each breath out, let one more thing you have been reaching back toward loosen and drift down and come to rest on the soft ground beneath you. You do not need to know which leaf it is. You do not need to watch it as it falls. You only need to stop reaching, to lower your arms, to let the branch grow bare and open and ready for its rest. The tree above you sways a little in the cool night air, lighter now, unburdened, standing easy beneath the turning sky, and the ground around its roots is soft and deep with everything it has released. A warm, quiet bed of all that has already passed, holding nothing back, asking nothing, simply resting in the long, dark patience of the year, the way you are learning, breath by breath, to rest now too. Down the long slope from that bare and resting tree, the river widens and deepens and slows, the way rivers do as they near the end of their journey. And on this broad water, in the last blue light of evening, there is a small wooden boat, and in it, a boatman who's been rowing since before dawn. Let us drift out to meet him, quietly, the way you might drift toward sleep, with no real effort, and nowhere you have to be. He has been rowing upstream all day. This is what he believes a boatman must do: fight the current, drive the boat against the pull of the water with the strength of his own two arms, make the river go where he has decided it should go. His shoulders burn, his hands are raw, and for all his rowing, the bank slides past him very slowly, because the river is strong and patient and was here long before him. It does not care how hard he pulls. Every stroke is a small war. He wins each one by the narrowest margin, and the winning costs him everything. And still, the green hills he is rowing toward seem hardly closer than they were at noon. There is a moment, near the end of a day like that every boatman comes to. Maybe you have come to it yourself in some long stretch of your own life. The moment when the arms simply will not pull anymore, when the body, wiser than the will, refuses one more stroke against the current. And in that moment, our boatman does a thing that feels, at first, like giving up. He lifts the oars from the water. He lays them across his knees. He stops rowing, and he lets the river have the boat. He expects to be swept backward, undone, all his hard day's work lost to the current he fought so long. But that is not what happens. The boat, set free, turns slowly with the water. It settles into the deep middle of the river, and it begins, on its own, to move. Not backward, not into ruin, but downstream, toward the sea, which is where the river was always going, which is where the boat was always meant to arrive. And it moves more smoothly now, in this letting go, than it ever did in all those hours of fighting. The boatman, who has done nothing but stop, finds himself carried. The burning leaves his shoulders. The ache in his hands begins to cool, and the boat glides on through the blue evening, while the boatman simply sits and breathes and watches the banks go by. He had believed all that long day that the river was his enemy, that only the constant force of his own arms stood between him and disaster. Many of us believe this about our lives, that we must row against everything, that if we ever stop pushing, stopped controlling, stopped driving each day forward by the sheer strength of our holding on, the current would sweep us into ruin. So, we row. We row against the way things are going, against the news we did not want, against the outcome we cannot change, against the simple, unhurried movement of a life that, like a river, was flowing long before us and will flow long after, toward a sea we cannot see from here, but that is surely there, surely waiting, surely the place all of this is quietly going. And the gentle, almost unbelievable truth the boatman finds is that the current was never the enemy. It was carrying him the whole time. His fighting did not save him from the river. It only wore him out inside it. The moment he stopped trying to control the water and let the water do what water does, he was not abandoned. He was held. He was carried toward exactly where he was always going. With an ease no amount of rowing could ever have bought him. The river knew the way. It had always known the way. He only had to stop insisting that he knew it better. You have been rowing too. Lying here, you can feel it. Maybe in the same shoulders that carried the strangers across the road, in the same arms that held the stone through the night. All day, you have pulled against currents you did not choose. The way the hours went. The things that did not turn out as you planned. The 1,000 small outcomes you tried to force into the shape you wanted. And you are tired in that particular way that comes not from living, but from fighting the way life is going. So, tonight, you might do what the boatman did. lift the oars. Lay them across your knees. Let the river have the boat. Think of the one thing you fought hardest against today, the outcome you most wanted to control, and notice, gently, how little your fighting actually moved it. The thing is what it is. It will work out the way it works out, in its own time, on the river's schedule, and not yours. Your rowing did not change its course. It only wore you down, so you can let that one thing slip from your grip into the current, not because you have stopped caring, but because you are finally willing to let it find its own way to the sea. There is a deep rest in this that is hard to describe until you feel it. The rest of stopping a fight you were never going to win. The day is going to be what it is. Tomorrow is going to come as it comes. You can spend the night pushing against all of it and arrive at morning exhausted. Or you can lay down the oars and arrive at morning carried. The river reaches the sea either way. The only thing you get to choose is whether you fight the water or rest in it. This is not giving up. Notice that, softly. The boat still moves. It just moves with the water now, instead of against it. To stop controlling is not to stop living, or caring, or being carried somewhere good. It is only to trust that the current knows the way to the sea, and that your endless rowing was never what kept you afloat. So let the oars rest. Let your arms grow heavy and still. Feel the boat settle low into the wide, easy water, and feel yourself settle with it. Carried now, moved now, going where you were always going, with nothing left to push against. The banks slide by in the blue dark. The sea is somewhere ahead, patient and wide, and there is nothing you must do to reach it but stay in the boat and breathe and let the river carry you gently on through the night. Carried like that, with the oars at rest and the current doing the work, the body begins to understand something the mind has been slow to learn, that all that effort, which felt for so long like the only thing holding everything together, was never needed for the river to carry the boat. And lying here now, you can let that understanding sink down out of the world of stories and into the actual weight and muscle of you, where the deepest letting go always happens. So notice, without judging it, how much effort is still quietly running through your body, even now, even here, even with nowhere left to go. There is often a holding we are not aware of, a faint readiness, humming under the stillness, as if some part of us is still rowing in its sleep. Feel for it, gently. It might be in the hands, in a slight curl of the fingers that have not quite uncurled. You may notice it in the feet, in a small bracing of the toes against nothing at all, or it may hide in the belly, held in and tight, from a long habit of being ready. Wherever you find it, there is no need to force it open. The body has been on guard for so long that it forgot it was even doing it. You are not asking it to fight that habit. You are only, very gently, letting it know that the danger has passed and the watch is over, and it can finally lay its weapons down. You only have to notice it, and to let it know, the way you would soothe a tired child, that the rowing is done now, that the boat is being carried, that there is nothing left to push against tonight. Let the hands uncurl the rest of the way. Let the fingers spread, soft and heavy, on the blanket, the way a leaf lies open on still water. Let the feet give up their faint bracing and fall outward, loose and warm. Let the belly soften and release. No longer held in, no longer ready, just rising and falling with a breath that asks nothing of you. Even the muscles of your face can let down again, the brow smooth, the eyes heavy, the whole front of the body, which faces the world all day and braces against it, allowed at last to be soft, because there is nothing here to guard against. This is the effort beneath the effort, the rowing beneath the rowing, and it is the last, quiet thing we tend to set down. We can release a worry and still hold tension in the jaw. We can let go of the past and still keep the hands faintly curled. The body learns its readiness so deeply that it goes on being ready long after the danger, if there ever was danger, has passed downstream and out of sight. So, the kindest thing you can do now is simply to keep noticing, breath by breath, the places where you are still trying, and to let each one of them stop trying, not by forcing them to relax. That is only more effort, but by reassuring them that the trying is no longer needed. Because here is what the night has been saying all along, through the held stone, and the spent candle, and the river, and the falling leaves. You need not hold your life together while you sleep. The world will go on turning without you watching it. The river will reach the sea without you rowing. The morning will come without your effort, the way it always has. Every single day you have ever lived, without once needing you to stay awake and make it arrive. Your holding on was never what kept things safe. It was only what kept you tired. And tonight, you are allowed, fully, to find out what happens when you stop. It can feel, at first, a little frightening to let the effort go, as if the effort were a hand on a railing, and to let go might be to fall. But notice that there is no railing, and no falling, only the soft bed and the patient dark. The tension was never holding you up. It was only tension, a habit the body learned in some harder hour, and never quite unlearned, repeated now out of memory, not out of need. You can let the body discover, slowly and safely, that nothing falls apart when the holding stops. The breath keeps moving. The heart keeps its quiet beat. The warmth stays in the blanket. Everything that was being held up by your effort turns out to have been held all along by something far steadier than effort ever was. Feel the great relief of being held by something larger than yourself. The bed holds you. You do not hold yourself. The night holds the bed. The dark holds the night. The slow turning of the whole quiet world holds all of it, and all of it holds you, and none of it asks you to help. You are a small, warm weight, resting in the middle of something vast and patient and entirely able to carry you. There is nothing you must add. There is no part of this you are responsible for keeping up. For these long hours, you may simply be carried, the way the boat is carried, the way the leaf is carried, the way every resting thing in the wide dark world is carried through the night toward the morning, asking nothing, doing nothing, and arriving all the same. And as the effort drains out of you, out of the hands, out of the feet, out of the soft belly, out of the smooth and heavy face, you may feel a kind of lightness, not the lightness of floating, the lightness of rest. It is the feeling of a body that has finally stopped bracing, the feeling of a boatman with his oars across his knees, the feeling of a tree that has dropped its last leaf and stands open beneath the stars. There is so much less of you to hold up now, so much less to manage, to guard, to keep from falling. And in the space where all that effort used to be, there is only the breath, moving on its own, and the warmth of the blanket, and the deep, slow current of the night, carrying you so gently that you may not even notice the moment you slip from resting into sleep. And that is exactly right, for you have nothing left to do now but let the carrying go on, and on, into the soft middle of the dark. Out beyond the window now, in the deep middle of the dark, a mist has begun to rise from the low places of the land. You can picture it, if you like, the way it gathers first in the hollows and along the cooling river, pale and slow, lifting without a sound, softening the edges of everything it touches. The sharp black line of the far hills goes gentle and uncertain. The trees become hints of themselves. The hard shapes of the day, which stood so clear and certain in the bright hours, begin to lose their outlines. They blur quietly into one another, until the whole valley is wrapped in a softness that hides nothing, and yet asks nothing to be seen. This is what the mind does too. When we finally let it, at this hour of the night, all day, it held everything in sharp focus. This task and that worry, this person's face and those exact words, the precise edges of all that went right and all that went wrong. It is tiring, that sharpness. It is the work of a mind that believes everything must stay clear, must stay sorted, must be held in its proper place and looked at directly. But the night offers another way to hold the day, the way the mist holds the valley, not by keeping every shape distinct, but by letting them all go soft, letting them blur and blend and settle into a single quiet gray, where nothing is lost, and yet nothing has to be carried in clear, separate pieces anymore. There is a small insistence many of us bring into the dark, and it is worth setting down. Here at the edge of the mist, the insistence that the day must mean something before we are allowed to leave it, that we must understand what it was for, draw its lesson, decide whether it was a good day or a wasted one. before we can finally close our eyes, as if sleep were a door we were not allowed through until we had finished our accounting. But the day does not need to be summed up tonight. It does not need a verdict. It does not need you to lie here, turning it over until its meaning comes clear. Because much of what a day means is not visible from inside the day, and never will be. And the trying only keeps you awake. Staring at shapes, the mist is already, kindly, softening out of focus. You can let the day go unsummarized. Notice what a strange permission that is, and how rarely we give it to ourselves. The hours that have passed do not need your final judgment to be complete. They were lived. That is enough. They can blur now, the way the hills blur, the way the river vanishes into its own rising breath, the way the whole hard, clear, insistent world goes soft and uncertain and kind under the mist of a deep night. There is no need to know what any of it was for. You do not have to decide tonight whether you did well or poorly, whether you are on the right path or the wrong one. Those are daytime questions. They belong to the daytime, and the daytime will come back soon enough to ask them. For now, the questions themselves can dissolve, growing pale and shapeless and quiet until they are only part of the general softness of the dark. Feel how this loosens something deep in the chest. So much of our wakefulness is the mind refusing to let a day blur until it has been understood. And understanding, that bright, useful, daytime thing, becomes, at this hour, just one more grip. One more pair of hands closed tight around something that wants only to be released into mist. To stop trying to understand the day is itself a kind of letting go. Maybe the most relieving kind, because it sets down not a single worry, but the whole tiring project of making sense of everything before we are allowed to rest. Think of how the mist treats the largest thing and the smallest thing the same. It does not decide that the far mountain may keep its sharp edge, while the low fence post must blur. It softens all of it, evenly, without preference, asking none of it to explain itself. You can give the day that same even mercy now. The big thing that weighed on you and the small thing that nagged at you, let them both go soft together. The mist does not sort. It does not rank what mattered most. It simply rises, pale and patient, and lays its gentle veil over the whole valley. The way sleep lays its veil over a whole life. So let the valley of your day fill with mist. Let each clear and pressing thing, the conversation, the choice, the small failure, the thing left undone, lose its hard outline and go soft. You are not forgetting them. The mist forgets nothing. It only veils. They are all still there, in the hollows, exactly where they were. But you no longer have to look at any of them directly. You no longer have to hold them in focus. They can rest beneath the pale, slow blanket of the night, while you rest above them, looking out at a world that has finally stopped insisting on being clear. And as the mist rises higher, it softens even the nearer things. The edges of the room, the line between waking and not waking, the border of where your own thoughts end and the quiet of the night begins. This is the blurring that comes just before sleep, and it is nothing to fear. It is only the mind agreeing, at last, to stop holding everything sharp. You might feel your thoughts themselves grow less distinct now, less urgent, less like things that demand to be followed, more like shapes half seen through fog, drifting, dissolving, asking nothing of you as they pass. Let them blur. Let them go soft. Let the whole clear shape of your day come quietly undone in the pale, patient mist, until there is nothing left with a hard enough edge to keep you awake. And the valley below is wrapped in silence, and you are wrapped in it too, resting in a world gone gentle and shapeless and kind, where understanding is no longer asked of you, and the only thing left to do is breathe and let the mist rise and drift down with it into the soft gray heart of the night. And somewhere out in that mist, far across the soft valley, a bell sounds. You can barely tell where it comes from. A temple, perhaps, on a hillside you cannot see. Someone has rung it once, into the dark, not to call anyone, not to mark anything urgent, only to let a single round note travel out across the night. Listen as it comes. The sound arrives low and soft, already gentled by the distance and the fog. It moves through you and past you, and then it begins, slowly, to fade. And it is in the fading, not the ringing, that the bell does its deepest work. It rings once, and then it lets the silence afterward grow. And the silence is the larger part of the gift. You have been listening to these stories for a while now, and maybe it is good to say, here in the middle of the night, what they are and what they are not. They are not lessons you must hold. They are not a teaching you will be tested on. They are much more like that bell. Each one rings once, sends out its small, soft note, and then is meant to fade, leaving behind not a thing to remember, but a quietness that does the real work while you rest. If you have followed every word, that is fine. And if your mind has wandered far away, drifting off somewhere in the mist, and only now come back, that is fine too. That is, in truth, exactly what these words are for. They are not here to keep you here. They are here to give your mind something soft to lean on while it lets go. The way a hand rests against a wall in the dark, not gripping it, only touching it lightly to feel its way towards sleep. So you can stop following now. If following has become its own small effort, you do not need to catch each word. There is no need to understand each story. You need not reach the end of this night having gathered anything at all. You are allowed to lose the thread. You may let whole stretches of these words pass by, unheard, the way you let the mist pass the way you let the bell fade. If sleep is already near, let everything from here on become only a low sound in the background, a voice like a far bell or a slow river, present and gentle and not important at all, asking nothing of you, holding nothing over you, simply keeping you company in the dark, while the deeper part of you slips quietly toward rest. This is the turning of the night, the place where it stops asking anything of you at all. Everything before this was a gentle loosening. The stone, set down, the candle, spent, the leaves, released, the oars, laid to rest, and everything after this is only deepening, only the long, slow sinking into sleep, with nothing new to learn and nothing left to do. You have already done the work, if it can even be called work. You loosened your grip, finger by finger, through all the quiet hours behind us. There is nothing left to release that you have not already begun to release. From here, you only rest. There is nowhere left to climb. The hard part, if there was a hard part, is already behind you. What is left is the easiest thing of all: to do nothing, to want nothing, to simply lie here and be carried the rest of the way. And if some part of you still feels it should be doing more, trying harder to relax, getting this right, being further along towards sleep than it is, you can let that part rest too. It means well. It has spent a whole life believing that everything good must be earned through effort, that even rest is something you have to achieve. But rest is the one thing effort cannot reach. It comes only when the reaching stops. So, there is nothing to get right tonight. There is no further along to be. If you are awake, that is fine. You are resting while awake. If you are drifting, that is fine. You are letting the drift take you. There is no version of this you could be doing better. Because there is no doing left in it at all. Only being here, in the dark, breathing, while the bell fades, and the night holds you exactly as you are. So let yourself be done. Notice the relief in that small word, done. Not because everything is finished out there in your life, where so much will always be unfinished, but because here, tonight, in this bed, in this dark, there is nothing more being asked of you. You have permission to stop, not to stop, and then secretly keep going, the way we so often do, holding a little effort in reserve, just in case, to stop completely, to let even the watching part of you set down its watching and rest. The bell has nearly faded now. You can still feel it. Maybe. The way you feel a sound just after it ends. A kind of ringing stillness in the air, where the note used to be. And into that stillness, you can sink a little deeper. There is no next thing to reach for. There is nothing you are about to miss. There is no part of the night you must stay awake to receive. If you drift off before these words are done, you will have missed nothing. Because the missing is the whole point. To be carried past the words and into the silence they were always pointing toward. The stories were only ever the boat that carried you out. The silence is the sea you were always being carried toward. So rest now, truly. Let the mist hold the valley. Let the dark hold the room. Let the soft, fading bell hold the last of your attention. Lightly, the way the fog holds the trees. There is no more listening to do. There is no more following. There is only this, lying here in the deep middle of the night, breathing slowly, held by everything around you, free, at last, from even the gentle work of paying attention, drifting, loosening, fading like the bell, into a stillness so wide and so kind that there is room in it for all of you to finally, completely come to rest. There is nothing more you need to do. There is only the dark and the quiet and you softening into sleep if your mind is still moving. And minds do move, even now. Even in the stillness after the bell, there is a gentler way to be with it than the one we usually choose. We tend to treat each thought as something that must be answered, followed, solved, or pushed away. But there is an older picture of the mind, and it may be the most restful one of all. The mind is not the thoughts. The mind is the sky, and the thoughts are only clouds passing through it. Picture that wide night sky now, above the mist, above the valley, above the room where you are lying. It is vast and dark and deep, scattered with the faint light of stars, and it reaches out farther than you could ever travel, and across it, clouds move. Some are thin and pass quickly. Some are heavy and drift slowly, taking their time. Some gather and seem, for a while, to fill the whole sky with gray. But notice the one thing the sky never does. It never grabs a cloud. It never chases a cloud away. It never argues with a cloud, or follows it to see where it goes, or worries that this one might be the cloud that finally ruins the sky forever. The sky simply lets the clouds pass through it. It holds them without holding on, and no cloud, however dark, has ever once harmed the sky, or stained it, or changed, in any way, the deep open space it drifts through. You are far more like the sky than like the clouds. This is the quiet turning we come to, deep in the night, when the stories have done their gentle work, and there is nothing left but you and the movement of your own mind. The thought that just passed, there is no need to follow it. The worry that drifts in now, you need not chase it away, which is only another way of following it. You can let it move across you, the way a cloud moves across the night sky, arising on its own, lingering for a while, and then dissolving on its own, without you doing anything at all. You were never required to do something with every thought. That requirement was something you took on somewhere long ago, and you have been carrying it ever since. You can set it down now with everything else. There is a particular tiredness that comes from believing we must finish our thinking before we can rest, as if the mind were a task that had to be completed, all its loose ends tied, all its open questions closed, before sleep could be allowed. But the mind is never finished. It was not finished yesterday. It will not be finished tomorrow. There is no last thought, no final, tidy ending, after which the thinking stops and rest begins. If you wait for your mind to be empty before you sleep, you will wait forever, growing only more awake in the waiting. The sky does not wait for the clouds to clear before it allows the night. The night comes anyway, with clouds or without them, and the sky rests in its own depth, no matter what drifts across its face. So, let your thoughts keep moving, if they will. Give them the whole wide sky to move through. Let them drift in from one edge of your awareness and out the other. And do not grab them, and do not banish them, and do not believe, for a moment, that you must solve them before you are allowed to rest. A thought is only weather. It passes. The next one will be different, and it will pass too. Do not be afraid of the dark ones, or chase the bright ones. They are all just passing across you. None of them is the sky. None of them is you. And beneath all of them, holding all of them lightly, is the deep, dark, open space of you, which no thought has ever harmed, which stays quiet and vast and untroubled, no matter what crosses it. The sky you have always been, behind the weather you mistook. For so long, for yourself, feel how restful it is to be the sky rather than the clouds. The clouds are restless by nature. That is what clouds do. They form and move and dissolve endlessly. To try to be still by controlling the clouds is to take on an impossible, tiring task. But you do not have to control them. You need only remember that you are the space they move through, and that this space is already and always at rest. There is a freedom in this that is easy to miss. For so long, we have believed that to find peace, we must somehow win the war with our own thinking, quiet every thought, still every worry, sweep the sky perfectly clear, and only then lie down in the emptiness we have made. And it never works, because the mind cannot be forced into silence. The very forcing is more weather, more clouds, a storm raised in the effort to clear the storm. But the sky was never asking for that. The sky does not need an empty heaven to be at peace. It is at peace in the middle of the wildest weather, untouched at its depth, no matter how the surface churns. And so are you, deeper than you usually remember, already at rest, already untroubled, already the wide, quiet, dark behind every passing thing. So, as you lie here, you might gently shift your sense of where you are, not down among the thoughts, chasing each one into the distance, but back and up and open, resting as the wide, dark sky in which the thoughts appear and disappear like passing weather. There's so much room here. There's room for every worry to drift through without touching you. there's room for the whole restless traffic of the mind to come and go, while you stay still and deep and unbothered. Behind it, the thinking can go on as long as it needs to. You need not wait for it to stop. You can rest now in the spaciousness behind it, and let each thought pass like a cloud across a sky that was never harmed by clouds, growing quieter and farther and dimmer, until even the clouds grow tired and thin and begin, one by one, to dissolve into the deep and starlit dark, and the sky remains the way it always has, quiet, open, holding you while you rest. There is an old story about a cup, and it belongs here, in the quiet after the clouds have thinned, because it is a story about how a mind too full can never receive the very rest it is looking for. Long ago, a learned man traveled a great distance to visit a teacher who lived simply at the edge of a forest. The man was clever and accomplished. He was full of everything he had read and everything he had decided, and he had come, or so he said, to learn. But from the moment he sat down, he could not stop talking. He told the teacher everything he already knew. He explained his own understanding of peace and of the mind and of the way things were. He hardly paused for breath. He was sure the teacher would be impressed by how much he had already gathered. The teacher listened and nodded, and after a while, he offered to make some tea. He set a cup before his guest and began to pour. The pale tea rose in the cup, and the learned man kept talking, and the teacher kept pouring. The tea reached the brim, and still the teacher poured, calmly, steadily, until the tea spilled over the edge of the cup and ran across the table and began to drip onto the floor. The learned man jumped. "Stop," he said. "The cup is full. It cannot hold any more. Can't you see it is overflowing?" And the teacher set down the pot and looked at him kindly. "Yes," he said, "this cup is like your mind. It is already so full that nothing more can enter it. While it overflows like this, I could pour, and none of it would reach you. If you truly wish to receive something new, you must first let the cup empty." Rest with that for a moment, here in the dark, because most of us come to the night the way that learned man came to the teacher, overfull, our minds brimming with the day, with all we know and all we have decided, with our plans and our opinions, and the long-running chatter about everything that happened and everything that might. And we wonder why rest will not come in. We wonder why peace, which we are looking for so hard, cannot seem to find its way to us. But peace is like the tea. It cannot be poured into a cup that is already full to the brim. It needs room. It needs the cup to be willing, at least for a while, to be empty. And here is the kindness hidden in the story, the part that makes it about letting go, rather than about lack. To empty the cup is not to lose anything of worth. The learned man's knowledge was not wrong. It was only in the way. He did not have to pour it out forever. Only set it aside. long enough to receive what he had come for. And you do not have to empty your mind of all you know in some lasting or frightening way tonight. You only have to let it be empty for these few hours of dark, to stop adding to it, to stop topping it up with more thinking, more planning, more going over the day, and to let it slowly, gratefully, drain down towards something quieter and more open, so that rest, which has been waiting at the edge all this time, finally has somewhere to pour itself in. Notice, too, what the learned man could not see while he was still talking. He had traveled all that way for rest, for peace, for something he could feel was missing, and the very fullness he was so proud of was the one thing standing between him and what he wanted. The more he held, the less he could receive. This is the quiet trap so many of us live inside without knowing it. We try to solve our restlessness by gathering more understanding, more certainty, more answers, held tightly in the mind, as if peace were a thing we could pile up. But peace is not added. Peace is what is left when the adding stops. It was never going to be poured into a cup held up to be filled. It only ever enters a cup that has been set down and allowed to be still. So, let the cup of your mind begin to empty, not by forcing anything out, just by stopping the pouring in. Each time the day tries to add one more thought, one more thing to remember, one more matter to turn over, you might notice it, the way you would notice tea about to overflow, and gently decline to add it. Not now. The cup is resting now, and as you stop refilling it, you may feel it begin to lower, the level of all that fullness sinking slowly down, leaving more and more open space at the top, more room, more quiet, until the cup is mostly empty and entirely at peace, holding only a small warm stillness at the bottom and a great deal of soft open air above. An empty cup is not a sad thing. Remember that. Drifting here, an empty cup is a cup at rest, ready, unburdened, free of the strain of being always full. It is the fullness that is heavy. It is the brimming, the overflowing, the constant effort to hold more than a cup was ever meant to hold. To be empty is to be light. To be empty is to be open. To be empty, tonight, is simply to have set down, at last, the tiring belief that you must know everything, and hold everything, and settle everything, before you are allowed to close your eyes and rest. So, let yourself be empty now, in the best and most peaceful sense of that word, empty of the day, empty of the need to understand it, empty of the long-running chatter, the planning, the holding of every answer. Just a quiet cup, in a quiet room, in the deep of a misted night, holding nothing but stillness and the faint warmth of being alive, with all the open space above you that rest could ever need to pour itself, slowly, gently, completely, in. There is nowhere this stillness has to lead. It does not have to become anything, or teach you anything, or settle into some final understanding before the night will let you sleep. It is enough on its own, and into that quiet, breath by breath, the rest you have been looking for all night is already, soundlessly, beginning to pour far across the dark valley through the last thinning of the mist. There is a single small light, a lamp, burning low in the window of a house you will never visit, set there by someone you will never meet. Maybe they lit it for a traveler still out on the road. Maybe they lit it only so that anyone awake in the dark, looking out across the night, might see one warm point of light and feel a little less alone. It asks for nothing. It simply burns, patient and kind. A small, steady gold in all that quiet darkness, keeping its gentle watch for whoever might need it. Let that lamp turn, for a moment, toward you, because there is a kind of letting go we have not yet spoken of, and it may be the hardest one of all, not the letting go of worries, or the past, or control, but the letting go of the hardness we so often turn on ourselves. Many of us lie in the dark at the end of a day and become, quietly, our own least gentle companion. We go over what we did wrong. We measure ourselves against who we meant to be and come up short. We grow impatient even with our own rest, telling ourselves we should be asleep by now, that we are doing this wrong too, that even at letting go, we are somehow failing. And so the night, which should be a refuge, becomes one more room where we are judged, and the judge is us. If you have been doing that tonight, even a little, getting frustrated that the worries have not fully gone, that the mind still moves, that sleep has not come the way you wanted, you can let that frustration soften now. In the light of the far lamp, there is no failing at rest. There is no wrong way to lie quietly in the dark and breathe. The mind that still moves is not a broken mind. It is only a mind doing what minds do, and it deserves your patience far more than your blame. You would not scold a tired child for being slow to fall asleep. You would not shout at a candle for flickering in a draft. And tonight, you are something like that tired child and that wavering flame, worthy of exactly the kindness you have been holding back from yourself. Imagine turning toward yourself the same kindness you would give a friend, lying awake and troubled in the next room. You would not list their faults to them in the dark. You would not remind them of everything they failed to finish. You would speak softly. You would tell them it was all right, that the day was over now, that they had done enough, that they could rest. You would leave a lamp burning in the window so they would not feel alone. And here is the tender truth. You are allowed to be that friend to your own tired self. You may set down the long habit of judging yourself, the way you have set down everything else tonight, the stone, the past, the effort, the need to understand. It, too, is just a thing you have been gripping. And it, too, can be released. So let the hardness loosen. Let the quiet voice that measures you and finds you lacking grow soft and then silent. the way a hard wind dies down at nightfall. You did not have to earn your rest by being good enough today. Rest is not a wage, paid out for a perfect day. It is a kindness the night offers freely, to the weary and the unfinished, to those who did well and those who barely got through, without preference, without judgment. The way the lamp in the far window shines for every traveler on the road and asks none of them to prove they deserve the light. You are weary. That is reason enough. The lamp is lit. The light is for you. You do not have to become a better version of yourself to deserve it. You only have to be here, tired, in the dark, and willing to let a little warmth reach you, and feel how much heavier the hardness was than you realized. We carry our self-judgment so constantly that we forget it has weight. The way you forget the weight of clothes you have worn all day, until the moment you finally take them off. To stop blaming yourself, even for an hour, even just for tonight, is to set down a burden you did not know you were still holding. A burden made entirely of the belief that you must be better than you are, before you are allowed to be at peace. But you are allowed now, exactly as you are, tired, imperfect, unfinished, awake, or nearly asleep, having done some things well today, and some things poorly, and most things simply as well as a tired person could. All of it is forgiven here. All of it is welcome. In the warm gold light of the far window, there is nothing about you tonight that needs to be fixed before you may rest. Think of how that distant lamp shines without keeping any score. It does not glow brighter for the traveler who lived well and dimmer for the one who stumbled. It does not ask, before it offers its warmth, whether the tired figure on the road has earned it. It simply shines, the same gold light, for everyone who passes, because that is what a lamp left in a window is for, to be a kindness that does not measure first. So, lie here and let yourself be held in that light, the way the dark valley is held, the way the sleeping house is held, the way every weary thing under the wide night is held, without being asked to be anything other than what it is. Let the kindness reach the places in you that have gone hard with judgment, and let them soften, one by one, the way frozen ground softens when a gentle warmth moves over it. You are not your mistakes. You are not the long list of all you did not do. You are simply a person, lying in the dark, breathing, worthy of rest, for no other reason than that you are tired, and the night is here, and the lamp is burning, warm and patient, and entirely for you, across the quiet, forgiving dark. Tonight, of all nights, you can let yourself off gently. You have carried enough. The light from that far window falls in the way of dreams across an old wooden gate. It stands alone at the edge of a mountain path. Maybe you have seen a gate like it in a picture or in life. 2 weathered posts and a simple beam across the top, marking the way into a temple. or a garden, or just a place where the path changes. And here is what is curious about a gate like this. The thing worth resting your tired mind on now. It has no door. It does not close. It cannot be locked. It stands open to the night and the day alike, and everything passes freely through it. The wind, the mist, the wandering deer, the traveler, the falling leaf. It guards nothing. It holds nothing shut. And yet it has stood there, peaceful and unbroken, longer than anyone can remember. We are not often like that gate. More often, we are like a heavy door, braced shut against the night, holding ourselves closed against whatever might come through. All day, we guard. We guard our hearts against being hurt. We guard our calm against being disturbed. We guard our sense of who we are against every small thing that might shake it. It is tiring work, this constant guarding, this holding of the door against a world that pushes and pushes. And much of what keeps us awake at night is simply that we have not set the guarding down. That even here, in the safety of our own bed, some part of us is still braced, still holding the door, still ready to defend against a danger that is not even in the room. But notice what the open gate understands, and the braced door does not. The gate is not harmed by what passes through it. The wind moves through, and the gate remains. The traveler walks through, and the gate remains. Even a storm can blow through the open gate, and when it is passed, the gate is still standing, exactly as it was, untouched at its center by everything that moved through it, precisely because it did not try to hold any of it back. It is the door that strains and splinters against the storm. The open gate simply lets the storm pass and endures, and is there still, in the calm that follows, quiet beneath the clearing sky. You might let yourself become a little more like the gate tonight, and a little less like the door. There is nothing you need to guard while you sleep. The thoughts that come can pass through you, the way the wind passes through the gate, without you bracing against them. The feelings that rise can move through and away, touching you and leaving you unharmed. If you do not try to hold the door against them, even the worries about tomorrow, even the old aches from the past, they can pass through the open doorway of you and keep going down the path, because you have stopped standing in their way, stopped trying to keep them out, stopped wearing yourself out, defending a self that was never really in danger. Think of how much of the day you spend on guard, bracing for the message that might come, the remark that might sting, the thing that might go wrong. Most of it never comes, and the bracing helps nothing when it does. It only keeps you tense, all day long, against 100 things that stay quietly on the far side of the gate. You can put that down now. The gate does not need you to hold it shut. The night does not need you to stand watch. This is a quiet kind of strength, and it is the only kind that lasts. The strength of the door is the strength of resistance. and resistance always tires, always strains, always gives way in the end. But the strength of the gate is the strength of openness. And openness does not tire, because it is not holding anything back. The gate is strong precisely because it has nothing to defend. It has made peace with passage. It has accepted that things will move through it, all things, endlessly, and that this is not a threat. It is simply the nature of being a gate on a well-traveled path. And in that acceptance, it has found a peace the braced door will never know. The peace of having nothing left to protect. Think, too, of how long the open gate has lasted. Year after year, people have walked beneath it. Children who grew old and were gone. Travelers whose names no one now remembers. Whole seasons of rain and sun and snow. And through all of it, the gate simply stood, letting each one pass, keeping none of them, grieving none of them. It outlasted the very things it might have tried to hold, precisely because it never tried to hold them. So much of our weariness comes from trying to keep what is only passing through, to hold the moment, the mood, the way we wanted things to be, as if we could bolt a door against change itself. But change is the one traveler no door has ever kept out. It comes through every wall, in the end, and the gate, which never argued with that, is the thing still standing, quiet and whole, in the snow-lit dark, long after every locked door has splintered and fallen. So let the door you have been holding all day swing quietly open. Let the bracing in your chest, the readiness in your shoulders, the small clench of a self ready to defend itself, all come loose and settle. There is nothing coming down the path tonight that you need to keep out. The night is not an invader. Sleep is not a thing to guard against. The dark that moves through the open gate of you carries no danger, only rest, only the soft passing of the hours, only the gentle current of a night that asks nothing of you but to let it through. You can stop standing watch. You can step back from the door and let it hang open on its hinges, and let the whole quiet night move freely in and out of you, taking nothing, harming nothing, leaving you standing peaceful and unbroken at the edge of the path, the way the old gate stands, open to everything, troubled by none of it. And as the guarding loosens, you may feel a wide, soft space open where the bracing used to be. Nothing left to keep out, nothing left to protect, only the open night, moving gently through you on its slow way to the morning. Through that open gate, the night has turned colder, and it has begun, softly, to snow. Not a storm, only a slow, quiet falling, the kind that makes no sound at all, each flake drifting down through the still air to settle on the dark branches of a grove of bamboo just beyond the path. Watch it gather there, in the hush. The snow comes down, and it begins to weigh on the long, slender leaves and the tall green stalks, building slowly, growing heavier, bending the bamboo lower and lower toward the ground beneath its quiet white load. There are two kinds of trees in a snowfall like this, and the old grove holds the lesson of both. The stiff branch, the hard and brittle one that will not bend, holds its place proudly as the snow piles on. It resists. It stays straight and firm and unmoving, refusing to give an inch to the weight settling on it. And in time, when the snow has grown heavy enough, that stiff branch simply cracks and breaks and falls, undone by its own refusal to bend. But the bamboo is wiser. The bamboo lets itself be bent. As the snow gathers, the supple stalk bows lower and lower, yielding to the weight, curving down toward the earth without complaint, until the moment comes when it is bent just enough, and the snow slides off its leaves in a soft white rush, and the bamboo, suddenly free of its load, springs gently back up to stand tall and whole in the falling night, having lost nothing, having broken nothing, having simply let the weight slide away the moment it had grown too heavy to hold. You have carried a great deal of snow this year. Notice that quietly, without making it a sad thing. The seasons of your life have laid their weight on you, flake by flake, day by day, until you may hardly remember what it was to stand without it. The small disappointments, the losses, large and small, the slow piling up of things that did not go as you hoped, of people who moved away or moved apart, of 1,000 quiet heavinesses that gathered so slowly you never noticed a single one of them land. And like the stiff branch, you may have tried to bear it all by staying firm, by not bending, by holding straight and strong beneath a weight that only grew, sure that to bend would be to break, when really, it is the refusal to bend that breaks us. In the end, the bamboo shows another way, and it is the way of letting go, told now in the language of winter. It does not pretend the snow is light. It does not refuse the weight or argue with the season. It simply bends, trusting that the bending is not defeat, but release. That if it bows low enough, gently enough, the weight it cannot carry will slide away on its own, and it will rise again, whole and green and standing. To bend is not to be weak. To bend is to survive the winter. It is the soft thing, the yielding thing, the thing willing to bow beneath what it cannot hold, that lives to stand tall again when the snow has gone. And notice that the bamboo does not throw the snow off by force. It does not thrash or shake itself or strain to be rid of the weight. It only bends and waits and lets the angle of its bowing do the work. And at exactly the right moment, with no struggle at all, the snow simply lets go and slides away into the dark. This is how the deepest burdens leave us too, not when we wrestle them off, but when we finally stop holding ourselves stiff against them and allow ourselves to bow. The weight begins to slide the moment we yield to it. The release you have been straining toward all year was waiting the whole time. On the other side of your willingness to bend, there is such relief in that, to know that you do not need great strength to be free of what you carry, only the soft strength of yielding, the quiet courage of bowing low and letting the snow do what snow, in the end, always does. You have been so strong this year, so firm, so unwilling to bend, and it has cost you. Tonight, you can lay that hard strength down and try the other kind, the kind that bends and survives and stands tall again in the morning. So, you might let yourself bend now, here, in the deep, cold quiet of the night, beneath the weight of all you have carried into this year and this day. You do not have to hold straight and firm any longer. You do not have to prove your strength by refusing to bow. You can let yourself yield, slowly, the way the bamboo yields, bowing low beneath the gathered weight of the months, no longer bracing against it, no longer holding stiff, simply giving way, gently, by degrees, until you feel the great soft mass of all that heaviness begin to slide. And as it slides, as the weight of the year lets go of you and falls away into the dark, you may feel yourself begin, ever so slowly, to rise again, lighter, looser, unburdened, standing whole and quiet in the falling snow, having broken nothing, having lost nothing that was truly yours. Feel that release move through the whole body now, the way the snow releases from the leaves, all at once, when the bamboo has bent far enough. The shoulders, which carried so much of the year, let their snow slide off and lift, lighter. The chest, where the heaviness settled deepest, gives way and rises, easier. Even the deep places in you that have held the weight so long they forgot they were holding it, can bend now and let it slide and spring back, soft and whole. There is no weight here you must carry into the dark. The night will take all of it, the way the ground takes the fallen snow, and hold it gently and let it melt slowly away while you sleep. You have only to bend and let it go and rise. And the bamboo grove stands quiet all around you in the snowfall, tall and green and unburdened, each stalk having bowed and released and risen again, swaying just a little in the cold, still air, at peace beneath a sky that goes on softly, endlessly snowing, asking nothing of any of it but to bend and let go and rest. In the stillness after the snow has slid away, your attention may drift back on its own to your two hands, resting open on the blanket. They have been opening all night long, these hands, slowly, finger by finger, through every story and every breath, ever since the very beginning, when they lay half closed in the dark, without your even knowing. And now, in the quiet of the deep night, they are nearly open all the way. Feel them there, the palms soft and turned up, or resting easy on the cover, the fingers loose and slightly curled in the way of a hand that holds nothing, because it has finally set everything down. This is the small gesture the whole night has been moving toward. Not a thought to understand, but a thing the body does. The simple opening of a hand that has held on too long. And there is one last thing, perhaps still resting in the deep of the palm, something so old and so familiar that you have carried it without noticing. The way you carried the weight of the year. It is the holding of your own life, the grip on who you are, on who you must be, on the whole tiring job of being a particular person with a particular name and a particular list of things to manage and protect all day, every day. You hold that self together. You keep it up. You defend it and improve it and worry over it. And it is, in its quiet way, the heaviest thing in the hand and the last one we ever think to set down. But tonight, you can set even that down. Not forever. It will be there in the morning, ready to be picked up again, the way the stone waited on the floor. Only for these hours of dark, you can let go of the work of being someone. You can release the grip on who you are, on the need to hold yourself together, on the endless, low effort of keeping yourself up. There is no one here to be. In the dark, with your eyes closed and your hands open, there is no role to play. There is no self to defend, or polish, or hold aloft. There is only a warm, breathing creature, resting in the night, as simple and as unburdened as any sleeping animal, any drifting leaf, any stone resting easy on the floor, needing to be no one at all, for a little while, and finding, in that nothing, not a loss, but the deepest rest there is. It can seem, at first, that this self is far too heavy and far too important to ever set down, that the whole world depends on us holding ourselves together, that if we loosened our grip on who we are, even for a moment, something important might be lost. But notice how naturally you release it every single night. In the end, when sleep finally takes you, in deep sleep, there is no one being held together, no project of being someone, no effort to be a particular person. And yet, you do not vanish. You come back each morning, whole, rested, more yourself than before. The holding was never what kept you real. You are held together by something far deeper and far steadier than your own effort, something that does not let go of you, even when you let go of yourself. So you can practice now, gently, the release that sleep will finish, loosening your grip on the self a little at a time, and finding each time that nothing falls, that you are still here, only lighter. So let the hand open the rest of the way. Let the last thing roll gently from the palm, the control, the holding, the heavy, constant work of being yourself, and let it come to rest somewhere outside of you, in the dark, where it can wait until morning. Feel the fingers spread, soft and easy. Feel the small ache of a lifetime of gripping begin, at last, to leave them. There is nothing in your hands now, nothing to hold, nothing to manage, nothing to keep from falling. Both hands lie open in the dark, empty and warm, and completely at rest, and you lie open with them, having released even the one who was doing the releasing, having set down even the self that spent the whole night learning to let go. This is what was promised, far back at the beginning, when the night first asked you to notice your half-closed hands. Not that you would solve anything, not that the worries would vanish, or the day be undone, only that you would loosen, slowly, through the dark hours, until there was nothing left clenched in you anywhere, until the hands were open, and the body was open, and the held self had been gently laid aside, and you were simply here, breathing, carried, at rest. Everything passes. The night has been saying all along, in the stone, and the candle, and the falling leaves, and the sliding snow. And because everything passes, you never had to hold any of it. You could always have opened your hand. You only needed the long quiet of a night like this one to remember that you were allowed. So rest now in the open hand, rest in the deep relief of holding nothing. There is no grip left anywhere in you, no clench, no bracing, no effort to be someone or keep something or defend anything against the soft and harmless dark. The hands lie open, the self lies down, and whatever you were carrying when you first lay here has rolled gently from your open palms and come to rest in the quiet beside the bed, where it will keep until morning, asking nothing of you now, while you drift on, empty-handed and unburdened, into the deep, warm middle of the night. There is a gentle surprise in this. The open hand is not poorer than the closed one. It is richer. A closed hand can hold only what it already grips. It must work to keep it, and it can receive nothing more. But an open hand holds the whole night. It is open to the cool air, to the soft weight of the dark, to the rest that settles into it now, like warmth into upturned palms. Everything you let go of has made room for this. So much room, where the holding used to be. And into that room, quietly, with no effort from you at all, sleep is already beginning to flow, out beyond the window, where the snow has settled deep over everything. The great old tree is standing in the heart of winter now. You remember it, perhaps, from earlier in the night, when it was autumn around its branches, and it was letting its golden leaves come down, one by one. The leaves are long gone now. They have fallen and drifted and become part of the soft, dark ground at its roots. And the tree stands completely bare beneath the cold stars, every branch empty, every leaf released, holding nothing at all against the winter sky. Look at it for a while, in the deep hush of the snow. There is something the bare tree knows that is worth carrying down into sleep with you. It is not afraid. It has given up everything it wore, all its green, all its gold, all the fullness of its warmer seasons, and it stands there, stripped and open and completely untroubled, because it understands, in the slow, deep way of growing things, that this bareness is not an ending. It is only winter. It is only rest. The tree is not dying. It is not less than it was. It is simply doing what it must do in the cold months, which is almost nothing at all. Standing quietly, holding nothing, asking nothing, waiting in the dark with a patience that has no worry in it. And here is the thing most worth resting on. Here, near the end of the long night, the bare tree does not lie awake through the winter, trying to make the spring come. It does not strain to grow next year's leaves before their time. It does not worry, through all the cold, dark months, about whether the green will return. It does not rehearse how it will grow. It does not hold itself tight with the effort of becoming what it will become. It simply rests. It trusts the slow turning of the seasons to do what it has always done. And when the time is right, with no effort from the tree at all, the sap will rise, the buds will swell, and the new leaves will open on their own, exactly as they have every spring since the first spring, asking nothing of the tree but that it stand quietly through the winter and rest. You can rest like that tonight. Whatever spring you are waiting for in your own life, the thing you hope will grow, the change you long for, the way you want tomorrow, or next month, or next year, to unfold. There is no need to make it happen from this bed, in the dark, tonight. That is not your work in this hour. The growing of your spring is no more your task tonight than the growing of its leaves is the winter tree's task. You have only to do what the bare tree does, to stand quietly through the dark, to hold nothing, to rest, and trust that the deep turning of your life will carry you toward what comes next, in its own time, without you lying awake tonight, trying to force the buds open before the season is ready. There is a deep comfort in this, if you let it reach you. So much of our worry is really about the future. Will it work out? Will I be all right? Will the thing I hope for come? And the future is the one place we cannot actually stand tonight. It does not exist yet. There is nothing there to fix, or hold, or arrange. There is only here, this bed, this breath, this dark, and the future, like the spring, will arrive on its own, made partly of the rest. You allow yourself now. The kindest thing you can do for tomorrow is to stop reaching for it and sleep. So set down even the future now. It is the last and the quietest grip of all. The reaching forward, the planning of tomorrow, the small effort to grow a spring that is not due for a long while yet. You can release it the way the tree released its leaves, the way you released the stone, and the day, and the held self, and the weight of the year. Tomorrow will come on its own. It always has. Every morning you have ever woken to arrived without you staying up to summon it. And tomorrow will be no different. And while the bare branches rest beneath the cold stars, something is happening that no one can see. Deep down, in the dark, warm earth, around the roots, the tree is not truly idle in the winter. It is gathering its strength, quietly, slowly, underground, in a way that needs no straining. and no worry, in a way that happens all on its own. This is the secret patience of all growing things, that the deepest work is done in the resting, in the dark, without effort, without watching. And so it is with you. The rest you are sinking into now is not empty time. It is not wasted time. It is the dark, warm earth in which tomorrow's strength is quietly gathering, asking nothing of you but that you let yourself rest and trust and be still, while the slow, deep work of renewal goes on beneath you, unseen, unforced, the way it always has. And feel, as you set the future down, how much lighter this moment becomes, how the bare branches of you, empty of all that reaching, are free now to simply rest beneath the stars. There is nothing to grow tonight. There is nothing to become. There's only this: the quiet, the cold, clean air, the deep, soft ground, the patient dark, and you, standing easy in the middle of it, stripped of everything you were holding, afraid of nothing, waiting for nothing, resting the way the winter tree rests, in the long, sure faith that spring will come when it comes, and that your only task in the dark is to be still and breathe and let the season carry you. The snow has stopped falling now. The whole white world lies hushed and still beneath the stars, and the bare tree stands at the center of it, perfectly at peace, holding the winter the way an open hand holds the night, lightly, easily, with nothing clenched and nothing feared, and you stand with it in the deep quiet, having released even tomorrow, having nothing left anywhere to hold, ready now for the last and gentlest part of the night, when even the standing gives way to lying down, and even the waiting gives way to sleep. Above the bare tree, above the hushed white world, the night sky has cleared, and the moon has risen, full and pale and unhurried, pouring its soft light down over the snow. Let your mind rest there a moment, in that high, quiet light, because we have come now to the thing this whole night has been about. The simple truth that was waiting for you at the very beginning and has been gently proving itself, hour by hour, ever since. Everything passes. The moon knows it, crossing the sky as it has crossed 10,000 nights before this one. The snow knows it, already beginning, somewhere deep beneath its stillness, the slow turn toward the melt. And you know it too now, in your body, in your open hands, in the deep, loosened quiet of you. Everything passes. Say it softly to yourself, or do not say it at all. Only let it settle. The hard day you carried into this bed has already passed. You watched it dissolve into mist and blur away. The worries you gripped so tightly have loosened and rolled from your hands, like a stone set down. The weight of the whole long year slid from you, the way snow slides from the bending bamboo. Even the person you were when you lay down at the start of this night, tense and full and holding on, has passed, gently, into the softer, emptier, more open person resting here now. All of it moved, all of it changed. All of it kept doing the one thing everything does, which is to pass, to flow on, to give way to what comes next, never asking your permission, never needing your grip to carry it along. And because everything passes, the heaviness you are in tonight will pass as well. There is something almost too simple about this. We look for big answers to our pain, clever ones, complicated ones. And the oldest answer of all is just this: wait, breathe. Let time do what time does. The heaviness you feel is not permanent. No matter how permanent it feels, it is weather, moving across you. And weather always moves on. You need not make it move. You only have to let it, while you rest beneath it, safe and warm and held. This is the deepest comfort the truth has to offer, and it is worth carrying with you into sleep, whatever hard season you may be living through, the grief, the worry, the long stretch that feels as if it will never end. It, too, is moving, even now. Even when you cannot feel it move, nothing stays, not the good, which is why we hold it lightly, and not the hard, which is why we need not despair. The very nature of things is to flow on and become something else. The night you are in will pass into morning, and you do not have to do a thing to make the morning come. The winter you are in will pass into spring. The heaviness you are in will pass into something lighter, in its own time, the way it always has, across every hard season of your life that you once feared would never lift, and that lifted, as all of them do, because everything passes. Think back on the hardest nights you have already lived through, the ones that felt, while you were inside them, as if they would last forever, as if the weight would never move. And yet, here you are, on the far side of every one of them, lying in this bed tonight, having passed through them all. They did not last. They could not last. Nothing can. Because passing is simply what time does to everything it touches. The very thing that can feel frightening about this, that we cannot keep the good, is the same thing that saves us, gently, again and again. By carrying away the hard, you have been rescued by the passing of things more times than you could count, on more nights than you remember, and you will be rescued by it again and again. As long as you live, you spent so much of your strength for so long trying to hold things still, trying to keep the good from leaving, trying to keep the hard from coming, trying to grip the whole flowing river of your life, as if you could make it stop and stay where you wanted it. And tonight, finger by finger, story by story, you let that holding go. You learned what the stone taught, and the candle, and the boatman, and the bending bamboo, that the holding was the weight, that the gripping was the work, that the whole tiring effort to keep things from passing was never what kept you safe. It only kept you tired, and now your hands are open. Now you are no longer fighting the current. Now you have made peace with the one truth you cannot change and never needed to fear. that everything passes, and that this is not your enemy. It is your release. Feel the deep relief of that spreading through you now, like the moonlight spreading over the snow. Nothing remains to hold. There never had to be. The river was always going to reach the sea, with or without your rowing. The morning was always going to come, with or without your watching. And you are being carried now. You can feel it. The whole gentle movement of the night is carrying you toward the morning, and you are resting in it, open-handed, unafraid, at peace, at last, with the passing of all things. This was the promise, lying far back at the start of the night, when your hands were still half closed, and you did not yet know you were allowed to open them. Not that nothing would ever be hard, not that you would never have to carry anything again, only that here, tonight, you could set it all down. And you have. You are lying here now, with empty hands, and an open heart, and a body grown soft and unburdened, ready now for nothing but rest, carried on the gentle current of a truth as old as the moon and as kind as the falling snow, that all things pass, and that you may, at last, pass gently with them, down and down, into sleep. There is nowhere else you need to go. There is nothing else you need to be. Only this. Only here. Only the slow, soft passing of all things, carrying you home. So let yourself come down now, all the way down, into the warm and waiting dark. There is nothing more to understand. There are no more stories that need telling, no more truths that need learning, nothing left that asks anything of you at all. The work of the night, if it was ever work, is done. From here, there is only the slow, soft sinking into sleep, and you can let it take you whenever it will, in its own time, without waiting and without trying. Feel the weight of your body, heavy and warm, held completely by the bed. Feel the blanket resting over you, soft against your skin, keeping you warm in the cold, deep middle of the night. Feel your breath, moving in and out, on its own, slow and easy, asking nothing of you. The way it has breathed you through every night of your life, and will breathe you gently on through this one. There is nothing for you to do but lie here and be breathed, be held, be carried, while the dark grows deeper and the quiet grows wider, and sleep comes closer with every soft, unhurried breath. Let the stories drift away now, the way the bell drifted away across the valley. The stone is resting on the floor where it fell. The candle has long since burned down to its quiet ember. The leaves have settled on the soft ground. The boat is drifting easy on the slow, wide water. The snow has slid from the bending bamboo, and the great tree stands bare and quiet beneath the moon. You can let all of them go now from your mind. Let them grow dim and far and gentle, fading like the last warm light at the edge of the day. until they are only a soft glow at the back of your drifting thoughts, asking nothing, meaning nothing, just keeping you company as you sink. If a thought still drifts through now and then, let it pass like a cloud across the deep night sky, untouched and untouching. If the mind stirs, let it stir and settle, the way water settles when you stop disturbing it. There is no thought you need to follow into the dark. There is no worry that cannot wait until the morning. The morning is wiser than the middle of the night. Whatever seems urgent now will look smaller and softer in the light. So, you can leave it for then. You can hand it to the morning and let the morning carry it, and give yourself, for these few hours, the gift of carrying nothing at all. Everything you might reach for has already been set down beside the bed, where it will keep, where it will wait, where it asks nothing of you now. Your hands are open. Your body is soft. The whole of you is loose and warm and heavy and at rest. Let your breathing slow even more. Let each breath out be a little longer, a little softer, a little more like a sigh of relief, as the day leaves you completely and the night takes you fully into its keeping. With each breath, you sink a little deeper. With each breath, the room grows a little farther away. With each breath, the line between waking and sleeping grows softer and thinner and kinder, until you can hardly tell where your resting ends and the dark begins. There is no need to find the edge of sleep or to cross it on purpose. It will rise up to meet you, the way the deep, slow water rose to meet the boat and carry you over, without you ever noticing the moment you were taken. Let your face be soft, let your jaw be loose, your brow smooth, your eyes heavy and still in the warm dark. Let your shoulders be heavy, sunk down into the bed. Let your arms be heavy, your hands open and warm, your whole body sinking down and down into the soft weight of rest. There is a heaviness that comes just before sleep, a sweet, gentle heaviness, as if the body were slowly turning to warm sand. You can welcome it now. Let it fill your legs, your arms, your chest, until you are too heavy and too peaceful to do anything at all but lie here and breathe and drift. And as you grow heavier, you grow farther away from the room, from the day, from the long effort of being awake. The sounds of the world soften and fade. The thoughts grow fewer and slower and dimmer, with longer and longer stretches of quiet between them, until the quiet is almost all there is. You do not have to fill that quiet. You do not have to do anything with it. You can simply rest in it, the way the snow rests on the silent field, the way the moon rests in the empty sky, the way everything in the deep middle of the night rests, soft and heavy and still, waiting for nothing, holding nothing, sinking gently toward the dawn. You are safe here. You are warm here. You are held here by the bed and the blanket and the dark and the deep turning night. by everything around you and beneath you. All of it patient, all of it gentle, all of it asking nothing of you but to rest. There is nowhere you need to be. There is nothing you need to do. There is no one you need to be tonight. There is only this: the soft weight of your body, the slow tide of your breath, the warm, dark closing gently around you, like the night closing around the snow, and sleep rising slowly to meet you, asking only that you let it come. So let it come. Let go of these words now too, the way you let go of everything else. You need not hear the rest of them. There is no need to stay awake to reach the end. If sleep is near, let it take you here, mid-breath, mid-word, mid-quiet, and let the voice become only a soft, low sound at the edge of the dark, a far bell, a slow river, a warmth you no longer have to listen to. There is nothing left to wait for, nothing left to hold. There is only the deep and gentle dark, and your open hands, and your slow, warm breath, carrying you down, and down, and softly down, into the long, quiet rest you have been moving toward all night. And now, there is almost nothing left to say, and that is exactly as it should be. The night has done its quiet work. You came here with your hands full, and your mind brimming, and your whole body braced against a day that has already passed, and now you lie here, open and empty and soft, holding nothing, carrying nothing, at rest, in the deep middle of the dark. There is no lesson to take from this. There is nothing to remember in the morning. The night asked only one thing of you, that you loosen your grip, and you did, finger by finger, hour by hour, until there was nothing clenched in you anywhere. That is enough. That is everything. There is nothing more for you to do, and there never was. You only thought there was. Somewhere in a room, the small candle that has burned all night flickers one last time and goes out, gently, on its own, with no struggle and no sorrow, having given all the light it had to give. The dark that stays is warm and complete and kind, and in that soft, total dark, your hands lie open on the blanket, empty and peaceful, the way they were always meant to rest, not gripping, not holding, not braced for anything, only open to the night, only at ease. May you rest now, deeply and without effort. May the worries you set down stay quiet beside the bed until morning, and may you find, when the light returns, that some of them have grown small enough to leave behind. May you carry into your sleep the soft truth the night kept whispering, that everything passes, and that, because it passes, you never have to hold it so tightly, and that your open hand is not empty, but free. May the hard things in your life move on, the way all hard things eventually move on. And may you wake, when you wake, a little lighter, a little softer, a little more willing to let the river carry you. And if you are still awake to hear these last few words, let them be the gentlest of all. You need to remember nothing, There is nothing you need to take from this night but the rest it gave you. The stories were only ever boats to carry you across into sleep. You can let them sink quietly behind you now, every one of them. The stone and the candle, the river and the road, the falling leaves and the bending bamboo, the lamp in the window and the open gate and the bare tree beneath the moon. They have done what they came to do. They can dissolve now into the dark, the way all things dissolve, leaving behind only the quiet and the warmth and your slow, soft breath and the deep peace of a body that has finally, completely let go. For now, there is only the warm dark and the slow breath and the open hand and the deep quiet that has settled over everything, like snow over a sleeping field. The tree stands bare and peaceful beneath the moon. The river drifts on toward the patient sea. The bell has long since faded into silence, and the silence has become the whole of the night, and you are part of it now, resting in the great soft stillness, carried gently on toward the morning, with nothing left to hold, and nothing left to do, and nowhere you need to be but here, in the dark, breathing, at peace. The night will keep watch, so that you do not have to. The dark will hold you, so that you can stop holding on. Nothing remains out there in the world tonight that needs your worry. Nothing that will not keep until the light comes. Nothing that asks anything of you now but to rest. So let the very last of your waking go soft. Let your thoughts grow few and far and dim. Let your breath grow slow and deep and easy. And let yourself sink without effort, without fear, without holding anything at all, into the long, warm quiet that has been waiting for you all night. You have done the only thing this night ever asked of you. You opened your hand, you let it all go, and nothing fell, nothing broke. The world is still here, turning slowly in the dark, and you are still here, soft and breathing, lighter than you were. There's nothing left to do but rest in the quiet of having let go, and let that quiet hold you, and let it deepen, breath by breath, into sleep. So breathe once more, slow and easy, and let that breath be the last small thing you do on purpose tonight. After it, let everything be effortless. Let the breathing breathe itself. Let the dark hold you. Let the bed take your weight. Let the open hand stay open, and the soft body stay soft, and the quiet mind grow quieter still, until there is nothing left of the day, nothing left of the effort, only the deep, soft stillness and the gentle tide of your breath, carrying you down at last into rest. There is no hurry now. There is no last thing to do. No final thought to think. No ending you must stay awake to reach. The night will go on softly around you, whether you follow it or not, and it would rather you did not follow it. It would rather you simply let yourself be carried, the way the leaf is carried, the way the boat is carried, the way every resting thing is carried gently through the dark, toward the dawn. Sleep now. Let the last of these words dissolve into the quiet, the way the candlelight dissolved into the dark, the way everything dissolves in time, into the deep and gentle passing of all things. There is no more. There is only rest, only the warm dark, and your slow, soft breath, and the open hand, and sleep, rising at last to carry you all the way down into the long, quiet night, where you may finally, completely, let everything go and rest. You need to hear nothing more. There is only the dark and the quiet, and you, softening into sleep now. The day is over. The night is here, and the night is kind. Let it carry you the rest of the way home. Good night. Rest well and rest deeply. Everything passes, and you, tonight, are free.